Okay, good evening. I'd like to go ahead and call to order our July 5th, 2023 PM meeting to order. And the first thing that we always have in our PM meetings are the citizen forum, where anyone can come and speak on any issue that's not on the agenda tonight. We have two public hearings tonight on applications or county business. So if you're here to speak on those two issues, then we ask you to wait for them to come up on the agenda. I'll go ahead and open the citizen forum now. For anyone that would like to come and speak, just raise your hand and I'll call on you to come up. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Don Haight, Stevensburg. I want to take the opportunity to thank the chairman and all the board supervisors for giving me the opportunity to speak and address you tonight. Support local, support Culpeper local farms. Chairman Deal made a statement this morning that I agree with. He said Culpeper is a great place to live, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. I can't imagine living in another place but Culpeper as well. He also said that the past and present board of supervisors have made great decisions to make Culpeper the county that it is today. Once again, I agree with Chairman Deal. What he didn't say is that many Culpeper residents feel that the past and some present board members have made decisions that have put in motion the destruction of Culpeper's beautiful landscape, replacing green pastures with concrete structures and asphalt parking lots. Some want to change Culpeper from a farming community to an industrial complex. The board also knows it's not what Culpeper residents want. This is a direct violation of the comprehensive plan, and they know that as well. It's important that when you tell the story, tell the whole story. Did you Culpeper taxpayers move to Culpeper to be near more industrial complexes? I'm sure not. I'm hearing complaints that some board supervisors don't return phone calls or respond to their emails. In most cases, refuse to confirm that an email has been received from residents. That's simply a simple common courtesy to reply. Please tell the whole story. One board member even went so far as to ask several of their constituents to inform others not to contact them as it related to upcoming issues soon to be voted on. Why? In their own words, they said, quote, "I am overwhelmed and don't want to talk to anybody," end quote. If you can't fulfill your oath of office, or you are stressed out, overworked, or simply can't handle it, please step aside and let someone fill your position who can. There is no harm in that. The harm is doing a halfway job. We need board of supervisors that are committed to the county and to its residents. If you feel the pay is inadequate for your responsibilities, let that be known. I agree. The pay doesn't reflect the responsibilities, but you knew the pay before you signed up for the job. For those of you who do not know where your tax dollars are being spent, let me tell you. As of 2022, the salaries are as follows. In 2023, they might have changed. The chairman makes $16,246 annually. Multiply that by 4 years, that's $64,984. The vice chairman makes $15,226 annually, $60,904. All the other board members make $14,716 annually. If you multiply that by the annual salary for all board of supervisors is $105,052. Multiply that by 4 years, that's $420,000 of our taxpayers' money. Some of the board members feel that they don't have to respond or listen to others that aren't in their district. That is absolutely wrong, because the salaries that will be paid to you are paid by all the Culpeper residents and not just the ones in your district. If you have concerns about this, please let your concerns be known. May the Lord continue to bless Culpeper and its residents. And I'm Donald Haight Jr., and I'm here to stay, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, does anybody else like to come and speak tonight? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and go into the agenda. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Or a motion to approve?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, I believe Ms. Gugino seconded that, Ms. Ellis. Mr. Bates made the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, old business. We have an application back, and we had the public hearing last month, so we won't be having a public hearing this time. The board will consider a request by TPC to rezone approximately 34.4 acres. And I'll go ahead and turn this over to Sam McLaren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to you and the members of the board. This is a carryover case that the board considered last month. Planning Commission had previously considered, and we read their motion to the record, which was a recommendation for approval of this rezoning effort. Since you saw this application last, the applicant has attempted to respond to some of the concerns that were made available to them by the board at the last meeting, which was a public hearing. And what I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay if the board just kind of touch on those. They're relatively simple changes, but they're significant in response to the concerns that the board members laid out last month. And it does involve primarily the proffer statement that the applicant has tendered, and that proffer statement is posted on board docs, the most current one. The first one really addressed the substation that they had shown on the corner of McDevitt and Chandler Street, and the applicant does have a presentation too that will show that on there, I'm sure. That has been removed. The proffer statement that alluded to that has been changed or amended, and then also the concept plan that is referenced in the proffer statement has been amended to remove that substation from that corner altogether. Another important proffer change involved transportation. At the intersection of Chandler Street and McDevitt, the applicant had previously tendered to give or donate to the county for future right-of-way purposes a little triangular piece of property that wasn't part of the active request to light industrial, but is cut off by existing right-of-way. It was 0.41 acres. In addition to that, and a potential for a future intersection modification or a roundabout or some type of intersection modification, we looked at it with VDOT again and the applicant, and VDOT provided a concept plan that showed an additional 0.3 acres could be needed in the future for a project. So the applicant went back to the drawing board and is willing to donate that as well, and has shown that on the new concept plan. So the applicant is to be commended for that, and that will help with any future road improvements that we need at that intersection. Another community design proffer change, which is labeled as proffer 3.8. The applicant, throughout his presentation to the Planning Commission and also to the board, talked about using cooling systems that would minimize water use. He talked about using a closed loop system. There's now a proffer in there that not commits to that per se, but does commit to using systems such as a closed loop system where the utilization of water is minimized to the fullest. And that is something that is important not only for the applicant but for the water needs for the county and the town. Number 4, they also changed there's new proffers related to the fire and rescue services. The applicant will now consult with the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association, and they'll do that upon the first site plan submission. And that specifically will help review items such as the building layout, hydrant locations, roadway widths, et cetera, things that were brought up last month that were a public safety concern. The applicant, we met with Culpeper Fire Association president, and we worked through some of those issues, and the applicant was willing to commit to doing that in a proffer statement. Also provides that they will, to the county and to the Culpeper Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association, the key facilities management personnel, so they know who they're talking to if there were to be an event. There's also a new proffer labeled miscellaneous. It's 9.4 in the proffer statement, where the applicant commits to complying with Article 30, which is our entrance corridor overlay district standards upon site plan submission. This is something also that was touched on last month. Mr. Chairman, that's all I wanted to share were just those updates. Staff continues to support the rezoning effort. It is shown in the comprehensive plan as future light industrial. It also is shown in the comprehensive plan as a technology zone. for this type of use as well that's proposed. And the Planning Commission, as I mentioned, does support the use as well as the effort in the comprehensive plan.
Thank you, Sam. Before I forget, Junior Perryman, the president of our Fire and Rescue Association, is in the house tonight. Glad to have you here, sir, and we appreciate you working with us and the applicant to give direction and assistance. Any questions for Sam?
No questions. I'd love a motion if anyone has one.
Okay. Or we can call the applicant up. Either way.
If we know what we're doing and if we're all prepared and if the questions have been discussed, let's not waste the applicant's time.
All right, fair enough. I motion to approve the draft ordinance of approval for case number Z457-23-1 for the rezoning of 34.4 acres from RA to light industrial.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you all for coming tonight. Okay, general county business. We have 2 items tonight. The board will consider adoption of a revised fee schedule for the Planning and Zoning Department. Sam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was something that we have been considering in our department for a couple of years, but I've finally gotten the opportunity to work with the board and the, I believe it was the Rules Committee, coming out of committee to look at our fee schedule. This is for fees that would involve basically any type of development, new development, subdivisions, rezoning efforts, conditional use permits, new single-family dwelling permits, erosion and sediment control permits and plan review, site plan reviews, text amendments. There's an existing fee schedule. It was most recently modified or amended in 2018, so it's been about 5 years since we've looked at our fees. I did have the opportunity to delve through average time that staff spends to develop staff reports or to process each application. So the proposed changes, we're not proposing to change all of the fees, but certain ones that you see there in red, so it's about half of the fee schedule, would propose to go up on some of those fees. In staff's opinion, we're just recouping the development cost of that particular application, and that's why we looked at the average time spent from a staff standpoint and resources that the county had to expend to process an application. Chairman, I'm happy to go through each one of these. The county attorney did provide an advertisement and it has run in the paper for the public hearing tonight. So those fees have been posted, not only on board docs, but were advertised in the Star Exponent as well. And to date, directly, I have not received any response on those fees outside of the board members themselves. So, but I'm happy to answer any questions and go into detail of any particular fee if the board has concerns about those.
Thank you, Sam. Any questions for Sam? Okay, this adoption of the revised fee schedule requires a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for anyone that would like to come and speak. Okay, seeing none, close the public hearing. Open it up for discussion or a motion. Don't all speak at once.
I will not make a motion to support this. I'll do a lot of things, but that's not one, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to accept the propose changes to the fee schedule for planning and zoning as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir. Briefly for discussion, there are several new fees in here. I voiced my opposition at the time of the advertising of the public hearing. I agree with Sam's comments. I seem to be the sole objector. I have not heard from constituents. I know they'll figure it out over time, but I'm not going to support the motion. I also don't have a groundswell of opposition among my constituency.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Ellis, I believe it was 6-1 in favor and Supervisor Underwood not in favor. Okay. The board will consider adoption of a revised fee schedule for the building department and ask Bob Orr to please introduce this item.
Good evening to Mr. Chairman and board members. I've given a comparison of both the existing fees and the changes. And to narrow it down, I have 3 new commercial fees. I have 4 changes to my commercial fees, and I have 1 new and 1 change in my residential fee. I think the heart of it is I am not changing the fees for residential as far as your single-family dwelling or your multifamily dwelling. These are fees that have just been updated or changed. So on the commercial side, I have a re-roofing permit is for review is $125, where we did not have a fee for that before. A new electrical service and panel replacement, $125. Mechanical rooftop unit replacement, first one is $125, additional $25. So these are all new fees. The change, R2, which are multifamily dwellings, the trade permits, we were charging $50 a unit for like a 10-unit apartment house. It went from $50 to $100 per unit. Sales trailer permit, this is a new fee, $75. A generator permit, excuse me, increased from $125 to $150. Utility grade solar changed. This fee was based originally 2 cents, or excuse me, on the contract amount. It was a percentage of the contract amount. It has been changed to 2 cents per square foot of panel area. This is something tangible we can measure, and we don't have to rely on contracts. In residential, we have a lot of master homes with all our tract builders. So we master the building plan. So once it's been reviewed, the master's been established. So when the builder comes in, he just says, this is the model, these are the elevations, these are the options. We issue the permit. It's a streamlined system. We did not have that for our mechanical permits. So we do now have that, and that is $350 per house model. We have to review all the models, all the elevations, and so forth and so on. And then a code modification for residential, an increase from $75 to $100. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Orr.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Orr? Okay. Comments or discussion before I open the public hearing? Okay, once again, this item requires a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for anyone that would like to come and speak. Yes, sir.
Good evening, board members. It's very important, Don Haight, Stevensburg. It's very important that we stay current with current market values by increasing what it costs the taxpayers to review these applications. In many cases, especially the solar, we should be not paying with taxpayers' dollars for a third-party review. I didn't see any notice about that, and that should be clarified, that the applicant should pay for third-party review prior to a application being approved. In addition to that, the Amazon site, where they were approved for a 200-acre conditional use permit, but yet they're using much less the footprint for building. So how do you calculate the value for that? Thank you.
Okay, would anybody else like to come and speak? Okay, if not, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Open it up for discussion or entertain a motion.
Can we ask Bob a question about that third party? I mean, do we have a fee for the third party?
The review is done in-house for the utility-grade solar. I have an electrical plan reviewer on staff. The owner is responsible for special inspections for the installation of the pilings for the racking systems, and inspections are done in-house for the rest of the,
So it's pretty
Systems.
time-consuming.
pardon me?
It's pretty time-consuming.
Yes, and that fee, quite frankly, for a 100-megawatt system at 500,000 panels is going to be about $192,000 for the permit fee. So yes, it's very time-consuming when you're taking that into consideration.
Interesting. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Okay, it's the pleasure of the board.
Move for approval of the proposed the fee schedule as proposed and as advertised.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay. I think that's it for tonight, right, John?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're adjourned.